held on the 14th of May 2025. Do we have Councillor Bradley? No. I can see that we have present Councillor Brogan, Councillor Brown, Councillor Kalikis, Councillor Cowan, Councillor Cowie, Councillor Fulton. Do we have Councillor Lennon? No. Do we have Councillor Loudon? No. We also have present Councillor Nugent, Councillor Ray and Councillor Walker. And there are also a number of officers present today. I'll pass back to yourself now, Chair. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, do we have any declarations of interest? Margaret? Sorry, Margaret, we can't hear you. Do you want to try again? Margaret, we'll try again. Margaret, I don't want to make an assumption here, but I'm thinking your declaration of interest is regarding the play scheme grants. Is that the case? Right, okay, so we'll make a note of that and we'll just give you the heads up at that point, okay? Thanks, Margaret. Okay, we'll move to item 2 on the agenda, and that's the minutes of the previous meeting. Is there any questions or comments on the minutes? Okay, I'll move them as a correct record. Could I have a seconder, please? Thanks, Robert. Okay, item 3 on the agenda is an update from Scottish Fire and Rescue Service, and we're joined by Group Commander Thomas Kay and Lawrence Murphy, Stations Commander. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Station Commander Lawrence Murphy. I'm the Station Commander for Clydesmill Station. The purpose of this report is to provide an update in respect to Scottish Fire and Rescue Service activity within the Cambuslang and Rutherglen area, and how this activity is measured against the targets for the period 2024 to 2025. Okay. The current Scottish Fire and Rescue Service local area plan for South Lanarkshire contains 6 key priorities, and these are the reduction of dwelling fires, the reduction in fire casualties and fatalities, the reduction of deliberate fire setting, the reduction of fires in non-domestic properties, the reduction of road traffic collisions, and the reduction of unwanted fire signals. So the summary page, okay. Now this is in comparison between 2024-25 and the previous year of 23-24. The total number of incidents have decreased by 22% from 993 to 772. The total number of fires have decreased by 29% from 356 to 253. Non-fire incidents have decreased by 13% from 180 to 156. The number of false alarms have decreased by 21% from 457 to 363. And the number of unwanted fire alarm signals have decreased by 40% from 163 to 98. Additionally, the number of fires within buildings have decreased by 27% from 75 to 55. And the number of vehicle fires have increased by 9% from 22 to 24, and 8 of these were deliberate vehicle fires in the 24-25 period. Okay, we'll get the page for accidental dwelling fires. Before that, sorry, we've got the trends page. What we're seeing here is a 4-year data on a quarterly basis across 5 of the KPIs. These trends we'll discuss further within the presentation. Okay. accidental dwelling fires. Okay, so we're going to draw a comparison between 23-24 and the last year of 24-25. The number of accidental dwelling fires have decreased by 24%, from 58 to 44. The wards with the most occurrences were Cambuslang West, which had 17, which was up from 13, and Rutherglen South, which had 14, which was up from 11. Cooking appliances were the main source of ignition for dwelling fires at 21, which was actually down from 32, and smoking-related dwelling fires have decreased from 6 to 5. Okay, so we've seen reductions on that. Of the 44 dwelling fires, distraction, falling asleep, or impairment through drugs and alcohol accounted for 22 of them. So 50% of the accidental dwelling fires that we had distraction, falling asleep, or impairment through drugs and alcohol as a contributory factor. Of those 44 dwelling fires, accidental dwelling fires, 38 had no damage or were limited to the first item ignited. So people were able to get there quick, and we got a warning quick, and we were able to limit the damage that was there. There were 2 evacuations. In both cases, they involved people over the age of 65 and involved cooking. Now, we continue to engage with the occupiers through our post-domestic incident response, which means that after the event of an accidental dwelling fire, we will offer a home fire safety visit and offer fire advice to the resident of that household. We also offer free risk recognition training to all our partners to upskill staff, and we have a rolling quarterly training session with South Lanarkshire Council care teams in place. We work closely with social work, housing and various other partners to ensure that all members of the community, any members of the community who are identified as adults at risk are fully supported and care packages are put in place. Accidental dwelling fire casualties. Again, drawing the comparison to 23-24, the number of non-fatal casualties have halved from 8 to 4. Now, these 4 were on 4 separate incidents. For a little background on them, 3 of the 4 were smoking related. 2 of the 4 were related to falling asleep, both with alcohol or drugs impairment. 2 of the 4 casualties had burns, and 2 of the 4 casualties were overcome by gas or smoke. 1 of the 4 actually attended hospital with serious injuries. This was an incident in Greenhill Road in Rutherglen back in November. The incident occurred as the casualty fell asleep due to impairment for drugs or alcohol. The fire started due to smoking materials in a bedsit room, and the casualty had to be rescued by firefighters in BA. The number of fatal fire casualties from accidental dwelling fires has decreased from 1 in the 23-24 period to 0 for the last period. The number of people who had to be rescued by firefighters was down from 3 to 2, and the number of people requiring hospital treatment for serious injuries has decreased from 3 to 1. Now, with each fire casualty, the results results in a reporting procedure followed by the operational crews, which inform the station commander of the details, the circumstances and the extent of the injury after each of these incidents. And we work closely with social work, housing and various other partners to ensure that we can have the correct package in place for any adults at risk of harm. Thank you. All right. Non-fire casualties, so special services, so casualties from other incidents that weren't fires. So we continue to work with our partner agencies to look to reduce the number of casualties from special service incidents. The fire service is seeking to seen an increase in requests for assistance from partner agencies to gain entry into properties for emergency medical requests. Now, there have been 2 fatalities this year. That's an increase from 1 to 2. And the 2 fatalities were from 2 separate incidents. Both involved the fire and rescue service effecting entry to property. One was from the ambulance requested for attendance to effect entry, and the other one was from a person via landline. And both of these fatal casualties were both females. If I compare non-fatal casualties, a comparison between 23-24 and 24-25, the non-fire incidents have decreased by 13% from 180 to 156. The number of non-fire casualties from special service incidents have decreased by 48% from 21 to 11. 25 people were rescued by firefighters as opposed to 30 in the year before. And those requiring treatment in hospital with serious injuries has increased from 2 to 3. Now, if we take in the fatalities as well, we've got 13 casualties from 10 different incidents. 2 of those incidents resulted in more than one casualty, and both were RTCs, with 2 casualties in one RTC and 3 in the other. So, from those 13 casualties, 8 were from RTC, and 4 of those 13 casualties were from affected entry. Deliberate fires. The number of deliberate fires has decreased by 36%, from 252 to 161. Refuse fires are the most common type of deliberate fire and has decreased by 26%, from 106 to 78. The wards with the most deliberate fires are Cambuslang East at 49 and Rutherglen Central and North at 45. However, it's worth recognising there has been decreases across all 4 wards. Deliberate fires rise from 4 p.m, spiking at around 7 p.m, and this strongly indicates youth involvement, and we target our prevention activities accordingly. We work closely with South Lanarkshire Council and Police Scotland to ensure that rubbish is removed regularly and to monitor areas heavily affected by deliberate fire setting. By working together, we hope to reduce the number of deliberate fires and keep our communities safe. Our operational crews report to our community action team to highlight any immediate concerns that they have, and that then allows for the community action team to make interventions. Between February and April, the community action team offered antisocial behaviour and deliberate fire setting talks to second years, with over 200 young people delivered to. In the October period, round about bonfire night, the bonfire and fireworks presentations were delivered to over 600 pupils. The first years were delivered by the community action team, and primary 7s were delivered to by operational crews. We use mapping software to identify any high-risk areas, and we target them accordingly. So when we identify high-risk areas, the schools are offered class presentations. For medium-risk areas, the schools are offered year group presentations, assembly presentations, and for low-risk areas, the schools are emailed the presentations. Deliberate primary fires. So the difference between a primary fire and a secondary fire. Primary fires tend to be they involve property, non-derelict property. They involve buildings, it can be vehicles, or it can be incidents that involve casualties or more than 5 fire appliances attending. There's been 16 in total over the 24-25 period. 7 of them were cars. Police are alerted to all deliberate car fires. There's been 1 shop. Again, that was limited to the first item ignited. There's been 1 dwelling property. It was the individual's own property. They set fire to candles and matches, and we managed to extinguish that by removing the burning materials. There's been 1 preschool nursery that was refuse set alight against the building. There was also the bandstand at Overton Park, which received a fair bit of attention, and I believe that police are dealing with that. Deliberate secondary fires. Secondary fires are things like refuse, things like that are set on fire. There's been 145 of these in total. 30 of them were over the November period, where people are the bonfire night period. Operational crews, additionally over this period, we had fireworks aimed at them a couple of times near the Glenclairn Football Club, and we've made Police Scotland aware of these incidents. Non-domestic fires. Okay. Non-domestic fires refer to fires that occur in commercial or industrial buildings such as offices, factories or shops. The number of non-domestic fires has decreased by 20%, from 10 to 8. Most commonly, these have occurred in retail premises. Overall, 4 of these fires were as a result of faults within equipment or appliances, and the number of deliberate fires in this category have decreased from 3 to 2. Early detection in 7 of these fires has helped limit the extent of the damage caused by either no damage or limited to only the first item ignited. Now, the fire service conducts post-fire audits by our fire safety auditing officers. These audits provide education and advice to business owners to prevent future reoccurrences of such incidents. Annual fire safety audits are also conducted at premises that involve sleeping risk, etc., like hotels, care homes. The aim is to promote fire safety compliance and reduce the risk to both people and to property. Our fire safety enforcement officers within Lanarkshire also carry out fire safety audits on a rolling programme in high-risk premises, such as sleeping risks or high-risk commercial or industrial premises, ensuring that the responsible person complies with their statutory duties. And fire crews at Clydesmill also carry out annual operational intelligence visits at higher risk sites and quarterly familiarisation visits at care homes to ensure that they are fully aware of any risks in their local area. There was one incident of a business fire damage at the stop. One incident was a whole building being affected. That was an accidental fire due to careless handling of smoking materials, but it was actually in a private garden shed that the man used as his business premise. So it was a shed fire. Okay, next slide, please. UFAS. The number of unwanted fire alarm signals has decreased 40%, from 163 to 98. Almost all UFAS incidents originate from residential homes and shelter housing. Now, from the 1st of July 2023, the fire service stopped attending automatic fire alarm call-outs to commercial business and work premises, such as factories, offices, shops, leisure facilities, unless a fire has been confirmed. Our control room operators now ask anyone who reports a fire alarm to check whether there's been an actual fire or signs of fire before sending out the nearest appliance. This does not apply to sleeping risks such as hospitals, care homes, hotels or domestic dwellings. And we continue to work with repeat offenders to further lower the number of UFAS incidents. Road traffic collisions. Again, comparison to 23-24. The number of RTCs has decreased slightly from 19 to 16. No fatalities were recorded for either of the two reporting periods, whether it be 23-24 or 24-25. The number of non-fatal casualties has decreased from 7 to 6, and people rescued by firefighters remain the same at 2. Those requiring hospital treatment for slight injuries increased from 6 to 5, and those requiring hospital treatment from serious injuries reduced from 1 to 0 for the last reporting year. Now, as far as patterns are concerned, they were spread out across the wards on the day of the week. 9 of the 16 were between noon and 7 p.m, and the only common location was junction 2 of the M74, and that was 2 of 16 incidents. Reduction strategies for that, the Community Action Team have distributed older drivers campaign literature in the area, aiming to educate over 70s regarding the requirement to renew their driving licence and for their eyesight to be able to read a number plate from 20 metres away. We've also delivered education programmes to assist in prevention, such as weekly virtual reality road safety input with fire reach groups to local groups and colleges. We work closely with our local community police officers to increase road safety awareness to local schools, and we continue to offer our communication and engagement through various social media campaigns. Biker Down. We've had 7 sessions in Lanarkshire to 92 motorcyclists. The main aim of Biker Down is to reduce motorcycle fatalities and casualties on the roads throughout Scotland. Another aim is to highlight how those on 2 wheels can be more easily identified, or how those on 2 wheels can be more easily identified than other road users, and make it less likely that they themselves will become a casualty. Riders are also given potential life-saving skills to help them make the scene of a collision safe and protect the casualty. And Lanarkshire Junior Road Safety Officer Day at Châtellerault Country Park attracted over 250 young people to attend and received inputs from the Community Action Team. Okay. Home fire safety vis and fire enforcement. Okay. Compared to 23-24, the number of home fire safety visits decreased by 12%, from 534 to 468. 36% of the home fire safety visits conducted were to high-risk households. 34% of home fire safety visits were generated from partnership referrals. And the number of fire safety audits carried out increased from 45 to 48. Now, as of February 2025, we changed our eligibility criteria for home fire safety visits and post-domestic incident responses. Where post-domestic incident response now, only the house that had the incident is offered the home fire safety visit, rather than going to the adjoining properties as well. Effectively, we now only offer home fire safety visits to people that we determine to be high risk, as opposed to offering to everyone. Okay. The eligibility criteria of home fire safety visit has been agreed upon following analysis of fire fatalities and casualties, and will be determined by a self-referral process or by partnership referrals. Okay. As you can see there, 2024-2025 saw fire reach courses ran for young people from the locality. In May and September 24, a total of 20 young people from Cambuslang Universal Connections and Cathkin High School attend the course. South Lanarkshire Council has provided funding for fire reach, which enabled to run the courses concurrently at both Coatbridge and Hamilton community fire stations. The fire reach courses include first aid training, community safety, simulated breathing apparatus, firefighting and road traffic collision drills. The courses teaches young people the benefits of working as a team and helping each other, and they're required to communicate with each other in a respectful manner in order to reach the goals set out by the facilitators. Now, including fire reach as well as other engagements, the CAT team and the team from Clydesmill took part in 172 different engagements within the Cambuslang and Rutherglen area. So there's been a lot of work done with the engagement side as well. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks very much. It's a very comprehensive presentation. We'll open it up to questions now. Okay, Robert.
Thank you very much for the report. Really just a couple of things on false alarms and unwanted alarms. Now, these, I mean, all your figures have gone down, so that's all to the good, isn't it, that we're seeing these substantial reductions. But in terms of the unwanted ones, you would have thought it would be possible actually to eliminate that practically to zero, given the kind of nature of these sort of things. Is there any more further work we can do that? You've made progress on it. Can we do something further with it? And on false alarms, is there any secret behind how you've managed to reduce the numbers? Because there was a period where that was quite a significant problem, and obviously it's still ongoing, but not quite so bad as it once was.
Well, with regards to UFAS, the UFAS call-outs that we now get are almost entirely limited to sheltered housing, which means that they're effectively, it's people in their houses who burning food, things like that. So that it's different from the turnouts that we used to get to businesses. So these are people's behaviour in their own house, and we'll try to combat that largely by offering home fire safety visit advice and fire safety advice. If we can stop things from, if we can stop them burning the food or and stop the smoke from going off in the first place, then we'll reduce that back. But it's important to recognise that we're now getting these within these sheltered housing complexes, and it's not just the same as speaking to a business and sorting that out.
So these are not, if you like, kind of faulty equipment?
No, it's not faulty equipment. These are incidents that we would turn up to because they have the potential of being real fires within someone's home. Basically, so that's why we're turning out to that. The second part of your question, that was about.
Well, I was really asking about the false alarms, which obviously have gone down. I wonder if there's anything kind of secret as to what had made the difference, and can any more be done on that? Because again, it's a huge waste of your resource, isn't it, when you're drawn out to false alarms and they're all cheering to see the fire engine arrive or something, you know?
It's through education and engagement that these have been reduced, and we're just continuing on with that process.
Yeah.
Educating people on fire prevention, educating people on the importance of not making malicious calls, and we just continue with that process. It seems to be working as far as driving these things down.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further questions? Okay, thank you very much for the presentation today. It's very comprehensive, and as Robert says, it's really good to see that the figures have decreased, so thanks again for coming along. Thank you. Okay, we'll move to item 4 on the agenda, and that's an update on Care and Repair Lanarkshire, and Jamie Burgess is joining us today. Thanks, Jamie.
and thanks very much for inviting me along today to give an update on the care and repair service in Lanarkshire. I've got about 20 slides, but I'll go through them quite quickly if that's okay with you, and for questions afterward at the end of the presentation. If you just see me when you lift this, if you can just change the slide. Well, we jumped ahead, I think. That's fine. So Care and Repair in Lanarkshire is an independent organisation. We're a charity, and registered charity and company limited by guarantee. There are 3 independent charities, care and repair charities in Scotland: that's Aberdeen, Loch Lomond and Lanarkshire. All the other care and repair services in Scotland are either managed by local authorities or by housing associations. Just stay on that note, if we could just stay on that last one. Thanks very much. That's me caught up with you now. I'm not going to read out the slides. I'll leave just a few seconds for people to read them themselves. The care and repair started in Scotland with home improvement grants were available to replace windows and replace roofs and things like that. Over a period of time, it was extended to include major medical adaptations and small repairs, which is handy person projects and things like that. Okay. Our charity is 21 years old this year, and we've operated out of Lanark for the entire time. During COVID, we did not shut down. We continued to work normally and operated normal operations, carrying out home visits to clients who needed help. Although we did take a lot of precautions to enable that, to keep clients and ourselves safe. We wore gloves and face masks and aprons and used gallons and gallons of hand sanitizer. During that time, during COVID, we were lucky enough to receive £10,000 from the Community Wellbeing Fund. And at that time, clients were asking us for help with work that they couldn't get contractors to help them with. A lot of contractors had closed down their businesses or were on furlough and things like that. We actually had a client contact us from North Lanarkshire who had just had a quotation from an electrician to change a light bulb in her kitchen, and the quotation was £90. And she was in tears when she phoned us up and asked if we could help her. So we decided at that time to start up a small repairs service, a free service using that £10,000. And we started that in South Lanarkshire. However, straight away we were getting requests from North Lanarkshire from clients as well for assistance. So we expanded the service to cover both North and South Lanarkshire. This led, because the care and repair service in North Lanarkshire was closed in 2019, this led to us changing our charitable status to incorporate both North and South Lanarkshire into the care and repair service. So in 2022, we changed from Care and Repair South Lanarkshire to Care and Repair Lanarkshire. This was to give the clients in North Lanarkshire access to a care and repair service, but also it aligned us with pan-Lanarkshire organisations such as NHS Lanarkshire and Scottish Fire and Rescue Service and other organisations. There's quite a line up there. This is the team in Lanark. We're very lucky. We have a very low turnover of staff within the team. We've lost a couple of staff since 2018. I've had 2 members of staff retire. 2 were tupied to local authority with a project return to the local authority, and 1 was and left us during COVID. Keegan, as you see there, joined us via the Kickstart programme. We had 4 Kickstart candidates at the beginning. 2 stayed with us, and then Keegan has gone through an apprenticeship and has since learned to drive since he's been with us. The change with Keegan since he joined us at a Kickstart programme, when he first came to visit us, he couldn't even look you in the eye. And now he's organising visits and interacting directly with clients, and he's a great asset to our organisation. Okay. As a charity, we needed to specify what clients we would work with, and we've tried to keep this as wide as possible. So we're working with clients who are elderly clients and clients who are living with a disability or a life-limiting illness. Clients who are with children who have additional needs under the age of 5, and clients who are victims of crime. And some of the projects I'll talk about in a minute are actually aimed at these various projects. We don't work with any particular tenure. Our clients can be in privately owned properties or rented properties or RSLs. However, we'd have to remember that responsibility for maintenance lies with the landlord in a lot of occasions. And if we're going to carry out work, we need to get permission to carry out work in rented properties. Next one. I carry out a lot of presentations across the region with various different groups, and I listen to clients and try to understand what they need, what we can offer to, so we can tailor projects to meet their needs. What we'll say is, when contact us, we'll never say it's not our job. We'll always try and find a solution or refer clients on to another agency if they contact us. We won't leave them just hanging and saying, we can't help you at all. We'll always try to find a solution for clients. On to the next one, please. Many of our clients are vulnerable, living alone, living with a disability, or with a life-limiting illness. In the first instance, client contact us are referred to. We never cold call them. I think I'm losing track of where I am just a minute here. So we never cold call clients. We'll always call in advance to introduce ourselves. We'll arrive at a time arranged and we'll wear a uniform and have identification. This is really important that clients are absolutely sure that it's Care and Repair that's coming out to visit them. There should be no doubt about who it is that's coming out there. It's not to say that home visits aren't without dangers. We recently had one of our officers was attacked by dogs when he opened the door to enter the property. Unfortunately, that same officer was attacked by a kitten about a year ago as well. It just shows, and it may sound funny, attacked by a kitten, but he had scratches all the way down both arms, and he had to actually go to A&E to get some medication. The thing about home visits is we may often be the very first organisation to visit a client, and this is especially true for things like small repairs. So it's not, what we try to do is not just to go into a client's home to carry out a small job, which may be unblocking a sink or fixing a lock, but to be aware of this situation when we're in the home and to have a conversation with a client and to look and listen. And with the client's permission, maybe we'll be referring on to other agencies like Scottish Fire and Rescue Service or Social Work or Home Energy Scotland or the CAB and Money Matters. What we're looking for there is, if we go into a property, it's in the winter time and it's cold and the lady is in the living room with a hat and gloves on, maybe there we're looking at a referral to the CAB or Money Matters to make sure that the person's receiving all the correct benefits, or to Home Energy Scotland to see if they're eligible for a new boiler which may have broken down. I think that's a really important part of what we do. And the next one, please. So these are home visits completed. These are individual home visits. Sometimes with these figures, there may be a few clients that are visited more than one time throughout the year. You can see there's quite a steep curve up in 2021, 2022. 2021-22, that was where the Scottish Government changed the fire detection legislation and required interlinked fire detection. We installed around about 1,500 houses across Lanarkshire. And we were installing wireless fire detection. And we still do that now. In 2022, you'll see still up quite high there. That's when we started working in North Lanarkshire with a variety of different projects as well. 2024, there's a bit of a decrease there. Some of the projects that we had funded, they closed, and we saw a reduction in some of the work we do with telecare at that time. But you can see from the figures there that between 4,000 and 6,000 clients visited across Lanarkshire. So it's not just, like I was just saying earlier, it's not just the jobs that we're doing there, it's an option or opportunity to refer on as well. Next one, please. How will be funded? I will say that the funding from the NHS Lanarkshire is critical to support the small repairs service that we operate. Clients do have to pay for the small repair service. However, clients who are on what we call passporting benefits, that's universal credit or guaranteed income, guaranteed pension credit, are eligible for a reduced rate, and that's around about £12 per hour. So that goes nowhere near covering even the basic overheads of running costs. So we use funding from the NHS to support that project. Small repairs is never going to cover its own costs. It's always going to have to be a semi or part funded project. Our income is divided into three, I suppose, separate streams. We've got procured contracts, which I'll talk about in a minute, paid for services, which are things like small repairs, and funded projects, which I'll talk about in a moment as well. Next one, please. So, funded projects with fire detection, we're still installing fire detection across Lanarkshire. Even with all of the initiatives and all of the advertising that's going on or has gone over the last years and the millions of pounds investment by the Scottish Government, we still come across clients who have no fire detection at all installed in their properties, or one smoke detector. And it really is quite surprising, but there's still a number of people out there with nothing at all. Small repairs. Like I said before, we try and keep our costs as low as possible. We're not a profit-making organisation, but we do have to cover the overheads that we have. And smoke falls prevention, we're working, especially in North Lanarkshire. We're fitting an awful lot now of handrails following referrals from occupational therapists, additional stair banisters and grab rails and things like that, all aimed at reducing falls within the home. The next one, please. It's just some photos there of some handrails and grab rails. They're quite basic, they're not beautiful, but they do the job. The purpose of them is to enable somebody with limited mobility or just to steady themselves as they move around the properties. And next. Some of the projects that we operate, for example, the Safest Houses project, we seek funding to specifically fund these projects. And these funding streams are often they're time bound, so we'll have funding for 1 year or 2 years to operate a project. And generally, as we're coming towards the end of the time of the project, we'll be applying for funds to continue the project. Safest Houses project has been operating in South Lanarkshire for a number of years now. And in 2023, I was lucky enough to get funding from the National Lottery to expand the project so it went across North and South Lanarkshire. Safest Houses is a free service for victims of crime and victims of domestic abuse, and we have referrals from victim support and rape crisis and assist. We help clients with home security, and home and security advice, and we install free of charge impact devices on doors and windows and door viewers and a whole range of security sort of equipment that we can install free of charge. We can also access what's called the Emergency Assistance Fund, where clients are able to get funds that will pay for things like ring doorbells and CCTV and exterior lighting, and we'll install that for clients as well. Electrical Safety First. I applied to the Electrical Safety First Fund and received £10,000 this year, and we make that available to clients at £500 grants to pay for electrical safety repairs within the home. So it could be things like broken sockets, or things like dangerous sockets or dangerous wiring or dangerous pendants or changing over electrical showers and things like that. And then the bottle in the fridge, that's something that's not very common, but we did our own fundraising and we purchased 2,000 of these bottles. It's a small bottle with a green cross on it, and inside of it there's a form that clients can fill in, and it gives all the medical details, names and addresses of emergency contacts, what medication they may be taking, if they have pets and things like that. And there's a couple of stickers in the set as well. And one sticker is put on the front door, and one sticker is put on the refrigerator, and the bottle is kept in the refrigerator. And emergency services know about this scheme, and they'll keep an eye out for that. And when they see the stickers, they'll know that all that information is available in the refrigerator. Okay. One of the procured contracts that we have is with South Lanarkshire Social Work Department, and that's to install all of the community alarms, telecare community alarms, and peripheral devices. We just do the more complex installations. That's where there's a community alarm and associated peripheral devices, which might be things like fire detection, heat and smoke detection, carbon monoxide detection, false detectors, exit sensors, epilepsy sensors, all sorts of different devices that can be linked in with the telecare device. And linked to that as well, we also install things like key safes to allow medical professionals and other people who need access to the property to gain access. We install Euro locks as well, because if somebody uses a key safe to lock the door when they leave the property, what they're in fact doing is they're imprisoning the client in their own home, and it's illegal to do so. So we have to make steps that by fitting a Euro lock, the client inside the home can unlock the door using a thumb turn. So they don't need to have a key internally to unlock the door. This is even for clients who are bedbound. We still have to install something to enable them to be able to get out of the house and not be locked into the house. Another procured contract I have is I manage the care and repair service in Dumfries and Galloway. The link there is I used to work in Dumfries and Galloway, so I had a connection there anyway. So in care and repair, the only work they do is medical adaptations, and that's assisting clients after a referral from an occupational therapist to install things like wet floor showers and stair lifts and ramps and things like that. And care and repair Lanarkshire receive a management fee on a monthly basis for that service. And the next one, please. We're working on a couple of new projects just now. We're looking to start installing modular metal ramps for clients across North and South Lanarkshire and in Dumfries and Galloway. We're aware that the cost of metal has increased significantly, and the cost of ramps has escalated by about 60% over the last 3 years. And a lot of ramps have become unaffordable for clients, even when they're funded by grants. So we've become in partnership with Easy Access, who manufacture bespoke modular metal ramps, and they'll provide the ramps for us, and we'll carry out the surveys make sure the specifications are correct, and then install the ramps for clients. I'm also speaking with Geberit, who are a manufacturer of a wash-dry toilet. Because now in our team I have a plumber and an electrician, we're able to install these wash-dry toilets. These are toilets that enable somebody who with limited capacity or limited mobility to use the toilet and clean themselves automatically and dry themselves automatically using this toilet. And this is great for increasing clients' independence. Okay. I mentioned earlier some of the projects had closed down, and these are projects we're actively looking for funding for just at the minute, so we can start them again or start some iteration of them again. One really successful project was the Under 5s Home Safety Project. This was working with children under the age of 5 with additional needs. We only accepted referrals from partner agencies for this project, otherwise we'd have been totally inundated with the limited amount of funds that we had. For this, it was a free service, and we installed home safety equipment for the clients. That's things like stair gates, window restrictors, cupboard restrictors, and a whole range of other equipment that we had available. The Digital Inclusion Project, again, the funding has been exhausted for that one. It was for everything digital for our client groups. We weren't providing equipment, we were providing advice and assistance to set up anything that was digital. So it may be from the smart TV to your iPhone. There's a couple of things that we were even surprised with some of the things we were asked to do. We had a 90-year-old lady who was asking us to help her with voice recognition software because she was writing a book to give to her grandchildren about her life. And we had another gentleman who had very, very limited mobility, and we set up a lock on his front door that was actuated by his Alexa. So this technology is available. It just needs somebody to help people with it. A lot of the cases that we help with is just helping people sort out their remote on the TV because it was just too complicated for some people. And in the over 60s home safety project, we quite often we fitted this in, and we still do to a large extent with all of our home visits to clients who are over 60 or clients who are living with disability. And this was just a general home safety survey. We're trying to identify any hazards and then immediately eliminate them or mitigate them. Things like overloaded sockets or trailing cables or rugs that was rolled up and they're going to causing a trip hazard. And it's amazing what you can just by having a quick look around and having a chat with clients and saying, actually, do you realise this is actually dangerous for you? And you can remove it straight away. Or we can make arrangements for additional help to get put in place. Following these, often we did referrals to organisations like social work or to Scottish Fire and Rescue. Next one. Scams, as you know, there's lots of scams around just now, and our clients are vulnerable and often targeted by scam artists, especially for building work. I give lots of presentations, and I always say to our clients, well, two things. One is if anybody ever comes to your door and says you need work done on your house, don't accept that work. Always happy for them to contact us, and we'll check out to see if the work is actually required in the first place, and then we'll give advice about contractors using the buy with confidence scheme or the trusted trader scheme or preferred contractors. Oops. The presentations we give, I say to clients, don't wait until it's you're actually needing any work done. Try and build a relationship with a contractor beforehand. So before your boiler breaks down, try and have a service in place with a plumber, or same with an electrician. Try and get these things in place in advance, so you're not waiting until the last moment. I give quite a lot of presentations across the region, presentations like this, presentations at church groups. Just a couple of weeks ago, I gave a presentation to the Macula Society in Lanark, which was quite difficult because they all had very limited vision, and the majority of them had very limited hearing as well. So it was quite difficult to give a presentation. But what we did in those cases is I gave packs of information to all of the people who were there. There were only 6 people at that presentation. Give them packs of information so they could pass that information on to their friends and families. And the last one, please. When I took over the care and repair service in Lanarkshire, we were really reliant on very few income streams. And we lost one of those income streams in early 2020. And that led to us very nearly having to close the charity down. Since then, I've built it up and increased the number of income streams that we have available. So we're not reliant on any one income stream, and if something shuts down, we wouldn't be in such a dangerous predicament in the future. We take it very seriously, that the service or the well-being of the service, because we understand that there's a lot of clients in Lanarkshire who are relying on the work that we do. So we feel it's we feel a duty to ensure that the charity has a future. We're doing that by just continually looking to see what sort of mix of contracts and of paid contracts, of earned income and funded streams that we can act and access. And that's it. Thank you very much for the time.
Great, thank you for the presentation, Jamie. Okay, we'll open it up to questions. Margaret Walker.
Thanks, Chair. I'd just like to acknowledge the work that Jamie and his team do. I was privileged enough to be asked to represent the Council and the Care and Repair Board, which I've been doing for some time now. You'll notice that a significant amount of the funding is actually from NHS Lanarkshire, which is quite logical and makes sense because you can't underestimate the impact that the work that the Care and Repair team do. Falls prevention. Falls is one of the major causes of emergency admissions to hospital. It's one of the major causes of, broken arms, legs, shoulders, all the rest of it, which has an impact on the individual and in some cases can affect their ability to live at home, and ends up getting quite complex in the sense that you have to provide sometimes fairly complex care packages and also adaptations. And adaptations certainly in terms of delayed discharge and getting people out of hospital. The Care and Repair team will reach people that are maybe just over that threshold that get their wet shower paid for, handrails, grab rails, ramps. They're just over that threshold, and that's where Care and Repair can come in terms of medical adaptations. It's happening in Dumfries, and we're trying to get that. And Jamie did a really excellent proposal that Suman's looking at just now to try and get that transferred to South Lanarkshire as well, because that could have a huge impact, because countless delayed discharges are caused by that. It's a delay in getting the house adapted so that the person can go back safely and live in it, and also that we can get the relevant care packages in place. So all of that, particularly the alarms as well, the kind of comfort and safety that gives people. People will get access to help really quickly because of the community alarm system. And as Jamie said, all of the small repairs like identifying dangers in the house, all of that contributes to people remaining well and healthy and not falling over and breaking their arm, which particularly in older people can start a downward spiral. So you really, as I say, from a health perspective and social care perspective, cannot underestimate the positive impact that the work that Jamie and his team do, which is way over, above and beyond, and is hugely impressive. And I found it a very positive experience being a member of the board is a sort of antidote to everything else you get in the council. So thank you for that presentation, Jamie. I think it outlined the work that you do really well, and I'll see you tomorrow.
That sounded like a threat there, Margaret. Thanks for your comments. Jamie, from a personal point of view, my dad lives in Ireland and I deal with numerous IT issues over the phone. So you and your team sound well adapted to dealing with this. So I'll just pass his details over to you and you can make contact, okay? No, in all seriousness, thank you for the report. And it was pleasing to hear about the Kickstart programme. That's really encouraging, isn't it, when you see the difference that it makes to someone's life? So it's a really positive outcome. Thanks for sharing that. Do we have any further questions for Jamie? Okay, are we happy to note the report then? Okay, thank you. Thanks for your time, Jamie. Take care. Okay, we'll move to item 5 on the agenda now, and that's an Education Scotland report, and we're joined by Gary as the lead officer and Jen Innes, the head teacher.
Good afternoon, Chair and Councillors. So the purpose of this report is to advise members of the outcome of the inspection of Calderwood Primary. My name is Gary Maguire, I'm the link officer for Calderwood Primary, and I'm pleased to say I'm joined by the head teacher, Jen Innes, to advise members on the inspection outcome. So Education Scotland undertook a 2-day inspection of the quality of educational provision within Calderwood Primary School the week beginning the 6th of January 2025, with the report being published on the 18th of March 2025. The inspectors evaluated the learning, teaching and assessment as very good and raising attainment and achievement as very good. These grades are reflective of the school's own self-evaluation. As an overview, Calderwood Primary School in Rutherglen, South Lanarkshire supports approximately 409 pupils with around 20% living in SIMD deciles 1 and 2. The school, led by an experienced head teacher, and supported by a senior management team, including 3 deputy head teachers, was evaluated very positively in the areas of learning, teaching and assessment and raising attainment. You'll see from the report that the inspection team have identified a number of areas of strength which reflected the excellent learning environment at Calderwood Primary, and only one area for improvement, this being one that they are already on their way to achieving. In reality, there was very little that they could identify that needs improvement. In addition to this, they identified the school's approaches to celebrating difference across the school, demonstrated through their diversity and dyslexia ambassadors as practice worth sharing more widely. In terms of strengths within learning, teaching and assessment, they focused on the engagement and classroom ethos. Calderwood has cultivated a deep and nurturing and respectful learning environment. Almost all children are highly engaged, motivated and collaborate well in group and individual settings. This inclusive ethos supports all children, including those with additional support needs, enabling them to access high-quality learning tailored to their individual needs. In terms of quality of teaching and use of assessment, teaching quality is consistently very good. Teachers link learning across subjects, promote independence, and incorporate digital tools to enhance engagement. Effective use of questioning and formative strategies enables clear understanding of success criteria. Visual indicators of confidence and exit passes help assess progress. In terms of innovative practice in the early years, play pedagogy is a notable strength in the early years. Classrooms balance adult-led and child-initiated play, fostering creativity and independence. Ongoing observational assessment supports responsive planning and ensures a broader range of outcomes. In relation to professional learning and collaboration, staff demonstrate a strong commitment to professional development. Moderation activities, collaborative planning and robust data use have strengthened teachers' confidence in assessing curriculum for excellence levels. Continued evolution of these practices, especially co-constructing success criteria and tracking skills more explicitly, will further enhance learner ownership. The strengths in attainment and achievement in terms of literacy and numeracy performance. Attainment across literacy and numeracy is very good. Almost all children meet or exceed CFE expectations in listening and talking, with most achieving reading, writing and numeracy. A few children surpass national expectations. Writing and reading show strength across stages. In numeracy skills development, children demonstrate strong understanding of number, money, shape and information handling. Most children apply concepts such as decimals, fractions and data interpretation confidently. In relation to tracking and monitoring, well-established systems support detailed tracking of attainment, attendance and participation. Staff use these insights to plan targeted interventions. These actions have led to consistently strong outcomes over time and help close gaps effectively. In terms of inclusion, equity, inclusion and wider achievement, inclusive ethos and equity, a standout feature of the school is its commitment to equity. Staff are proactive in removing financial barriers, evidenced through initiatives like uniform recycling, cost-free trips and a breakfast provision. The school's cost of the day strategy is a model of best practice rooted in children's rights and inclusion. Leadership opportunities and pupil voice. Children actively contribute to school life through leadership roles and clubs such as Diverseteers, Junior Road Safety Officers and the school's magazine. P7 pupils lead community projects like the Community Cafe, demonstrating real-world skills in leadership, collaboration and enterprise. In relation to PEF, senior leaders deploy pupil equity funding effectively to support literacy, numeracy and well-being for disadvantaged learners. Interventions funded by PEF have demonstrated improved attainment and engagement for most targeted children, with a few making accelerated progress. In conclusion, Calderwood Primary School exemplifies a nurturing, aspirational learning environment where children feel valued and encouraged to thrive. The school's commitment to continuous improvement, inclusion and collaborative learning places it in a very strong position to sustain and build upon its successes. Its approaches to equity and leadership development are worthy of wider recognition and offer an excellent foundation for ongoing progress. I'll now hand over to Head Teacher Jen Innes to share a few of the highlights from the report. Thanks, Jen.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here this afternoon representing Calderwood Primary School and our wider community. As a community, we are delighted with our report from the Education Scotland team. We feel that it really sums up what we are all about at Calderwood, our strengths, culture and ethos, and is a real validation of the work of our school and wider community. The inspection process itself was a positive experience for us. It is naturally a robust process, but we embraced the opportunity to welcome the Managing Inspector, Terry McIntosh, and her team into our school and immerse them in all things Calderwood. If anything, we felt that we would like to have held on to the team a little bit longer to showcase our school further. We certainly made the most of them being with us and tried to show them as much of Calderwood as possible during their short visit. In fact, they encouraged our staff to approach them and to engage in discussions about their lessons and roles in the school. Little did they know what they were in for. They were absolutely inundated by staff chapping at their door from the beginning to the end of the day, incredibly eager to tell them about Calderwood and all the work taking place in our school. During the feedback meeting, Terry described their visit as a joy and stated that there is a specialness here. I'm sure that those of you in the room who know us would agree with this. It can be very difficult to sum up a school in a report and to put into words the feeling that you get when you visit a place, but we certainly feel that the team got us and what we stood for in Calderwood. Our motto is Calderwood Can, with the priorities of connection, ambition and nurture at the heart of everything we do. The report very much highlighted these strengths, noting the positive impact of the collaborative relationships across our community and the aspirational and inclusive culture of learning in Calderwood. In Calderwood, we pride ourselves on the positive and productive relationships that exist between pupils, staff, parents and carers in our wider community. We think of ourselves as a big school that feels like a wee school. We get to know our families and each other very well, and these relationships are the foundation of everything else that we do. The report highlights that all staff provide encouraging and nurturing relationships which result in highly motivated children who engage well in their learning. We are pleased that the team observed the genuine caring relationships that exist between staff and pupils. Community is one of our core values at Calderwood, and we are delighted that the partnership working between our staff, parents and wider community is highlighted in the report, noting that staff, parents and community partners work well together to provide experiences and events that support all children to participate and achieve success. The report also notes that our children benefit from encouragement and learning from each other, again highlighting the mutually beneficial and supportive relationships which exist in the school. Much of the work that we do in Calderwood, especially around sustainability and removing the cost of the school day, would not be possible without the active support of our parent council, and we were delighted that the team recognised this, describing them as highly effective in the report. As many of you all will know, we have an incredibly active and supportive parent council and wider parent forum in Calderwood. Just to give an example of this, we were initially told to expect around 50 parental questionnaire responses, as this is usual for a school of our size, but perhaps less, given that it was the run-up to Christmas when the questionnaires went out to parents. However, in true Calderwood style, they received over 160 responses. I think this sums up the support that we receive from parents on an ongoing basis, but also outlines that they really went out of their way to champion us during the inspection process, and that was greatly appreciated by us. We work hard in Calderwood to ensure consistent levels of high quality learning and teaching. We are a large establishment and our aim is for an equity of experience for all pupils across stages and throughout the school, whilst also empowering staff to identify and work to their strengths. We were delighted that our provision of consistent high quality learning and teaching was highlighted in the report. This speaks to the hard work of our staff team to continuously develop and improve their practice, providing engaging, motivating, challenging and relevant learning opportunities for our pupils. The inspection team also recognised our staff's commitment to their own professional learning and the positive impact this has on practice and pupils' experiences. Developing our play-based pedagogies has been an improvement priority for us for a number of years now, and this has been a focus of a lot of professional learning and our peer school review activities, and so we are pleased that the team endorsed this work and reported on it positively. We are a gold reading school and we have a hard-working staff, pupil and parent leadership groups that work closely together to promote a culture of reading throughout our community. This work is also highlighted in the report, which notes our well-resourced and attractive library, reading nooks, relevant and engaging and accessible texts available for all pupils. Promoting leadership at all levels is very important to us in Calderwood, and this theme comes through strongly in the report. All pupils and staff and many parents have leadership roles which are linked to our school improvement priorities. These include our amazing young leaders of learning, pupil council, diversity ambassadors, diversiteers, dyslexia stars and eco-champions. The report notes the positive impact that these activities have, enabling pupils to contribute to the life of the school and develop communication and teamworking skills, among many others. We regularly celebrate pupils' achievements from both in and out of school. We monitor and track these and participation in activities, providing bespoke experiences for pupils at risk of missing out. And again, we were delighted that this work was recognised. Our high levels of attainment throughout the school were also recognised by the team, as were our approaches to planning, support and interventions for pupils. These approaches are embedded in our practice in order to support all pupils to reach their full potential. This links with our equity work, which is supported by our pupil equity funding. The team were especially positive about our equity approaches. During the feedback meeting, they noted that staff have an acute understanding of equity in learning. We have been developing these approaches over the past 8 years with a focus on providing additional support for learners and closing the attainment gap. We use a wide range of data to identify groups or individuals who may benefit from support. The report highlights that the majority of children being supported through pupil equity funding initiatives are demonstrating improved attainment, and there is evidence that a few children are making accelerated progress in their attainment as a result of these interventions. During the feedback meeting, they noted that this was a profound statement not often seen in SIFs. The report notes that our staff have a strong understanding of the diverse nature of our community, using this knowledge to thoughtfully remove financial barriers to children in all aspects of school life. It also highlights our comprehensive cost of the school day strategy, which is embedded in practice. In Calderwood, we aim for there to be no cost to the school day, and the activities we have in place to support families were highlighted in the report, including our breakfast club, Toast and Go, eco-uniform, eco-library, commitment to free trips for all children, and free to access wider activities such as discos and fairs. These initiatives are only possible due to the support that we receive from our Parent Council and Parent Forum, and we're incredibly grateful for everything they do for us in this area. The work is very important to us, and that is why we're so delighted it was recognised during the inspection. Attendance is a national focus at the moment, and we were pleased that this area was highlighted in the report. In the feedback meeting, the team spoke about our relentless focus on attendance, with almost all pupils having high levels of attendance, and our attendance rates being consistently and significantly over national and local levels. During the feedback meeting, they noted that this is not common currently in schools. We are delighted, as Gary said, that 2 areas of our practice have been highlighted as practice worth sharing more widely. These are our approaches supporting children to understand and celebrate differences, social, cultural and learning, and challenge discrimination, and also our culture of inclusion and equality, with our dyslexia stars getting a special mention. This work is credited with helping children who require support and learning to develop their confidence, self-esteem and motivation for learning. Celebrating diversity and promoting equity, equality and inclusion is fundamental to our inclusive ethos at Calderwood. We value and celebrate our differences. We are nurturing 21st century citizens who have understanding, compassion and empathy. The inspection gave us an opportunity to reflect on our journey and celebrate our achievements. We've always known that there was something a little bit special about Calderwood, and we're glad that this was recognised by our visitors. It has given us a renewed appreciation of the strength of our community and how well supported we are. The whole experience has further bonded us as a team. It has validated our own self-evaluations, and I am confident in our ability to identify the next steps in our journey and excited to see where these will take us. To celebrate the publication of our report in March, we put together a short film. Our aim was to make a joyful celebration of our school, which included all of our staff and pupils. If you have a little bit of time available, I would encourage you to watch it. I promise you that it will make you smile. Some highlights to watch out for are the drone footage of our whole school out in the garden, and a nod to a classic movie at the end. Our pupils particularly love the staff montage, and I am very appreciative of everybody stepping out of their comfort zone to participate. I am always very grateful to my staff team for all their hard work before and during the inspection, but more importantly, always going above and beyond for our pupils. I would like to thank our staff in the central team for their support, both ongoing and during the inspection process. In South Lanarkshire, we are empowered and supported as head teachers to make the right choices for our own schools, contexts and communities, and I'm grateful for the trust that we are given to do this. I would also like to thank members of the committee here this afternoon that so readily showed support for the work of our school, for the work that you do to make Rutherglen such a fantastic community to work in. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share our experience and highlights, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Jen. You were certainly back with a bang after the school holidays, weren't you? OK, Robert wants to come in. I'll go to Robert.
I mean, in a way, the presentations and the reports speak for themselves, and I think many congratulations, really, I think, from myself and from the committee. I know as a member who attends the Parent Council pretty periodically just how well Calderwood does and just how significant the input is from the staff and the leadership team there. I was struck by the fact you said it was a positive experience to have the inspectors. I'm not sure that the staff all thought that when the knowledge of it arrived just before the Christmas holidays, but that's perhaps another aspect to it as well. It's fair to say, I think, as well, that the cost of the school day was sort of identified as being a key point there, and also the input of the school council, Parent Council, which I think has been recognised over a number of years, has been one of the strongest and most effective in South Lanarkshire whose achievements I think are used as exemplars elsewhere as well. And I suppose just the point, I suppose you've really answered that already, as to how important is that in terms of the school's achievement and its ability to communicate with its wider public.
Jen, that's you.
We wouldn't be Calderwood without the support of our parent forum, our wider community. That really is what we are all about. It's what we're known for. It's everything. It's our ethos that we are part of our community, and we rely on everybody in that community to support us for the benefit of our pupils. We certainly couldn't do the work that we do in school without the support of our parent council. It's not just through their fundraising, which they do very, very effectively, but we wouldn't be able to offer our free trips, the free experiences that we're able to offer for pupils without that fundraising. But it's also the other things that they offer as well through their own expertise coming into the school to support children, to work with groups. They're very heavily involved. So we certainly, we're all a team, and we couldn't do what we do. We wouldn't be able to do it without the support of our parent council.
Thanks, Jen. Okay, I'm just going to bring Carol in. Margaret Cowie's having some issues with her mic, so Carol's just going to speak through Margaret's comments.
Thank you, Chair. So, yeah, Councillor Cowie would just like to pass on our congratulations to Jen and the staff, and also the parents and children and the Parent Council for a fantastic report. Thank you.
Okay, I think just to finish, congratulations on your outstanding report. You know, I mean, it really is outstanding and it's thoroughly deserved. I've said to you before, I always leave the school with a smile on my face, and I don't think there's a bigger compliment that you can say. I don't expect you to give any spoilers away, but I'm really looking forward to see what you do with the school show in June. So for those that don't know, it's called An Inspector Calls, so it's quite relevant, and we'll wait and see what comes. So thank you for the detailed presentation, and well done again. Thank you. Okay, are we happy to note the report? Great, thank you. Okay, we'll move to item 6 on the agenda, and that's Education Scotland report, and it's St Anthony's Primary School. And Gary will take us through that, and we're also joined by the head teacher, Alison Gallagher.
Thank you again, Chair and afternoon councillors. So I'm here obviously on behalf of Maureen Farr, who is actually the Quality Link Officer for St Anthony's Primary, but unfortunately couldn't be here today. I'm pleased to be here with the head teacher, Mrs Alison Gallagher, to advise members on the inspection outcome. So St Anthony's Primary School is a denominational school situated in the Spring Hall area of Rutherglen, South Lanarkshire. The catchment includes Spring Hall, Whitelaw Burn, Cathkin and Burnside. At the time of inspection, the roll was 137 pupils across 6 classes. The school shares a campus with a non-denominational primary school. The head teacher was appointed in January 2024 and is supported by an acting principal teacher who was appointed in February 2024. In December 2024, a team of inspectors from Education Scotland visited St Anthony's Primary School, and the report was published on the 4th of February 2025. Education Scotland inspectors evaluated the learning and teaching and assessment and reasoning attainment and achievement across the school. The outcome for St Anthony's was positive, with Quality Indicator 2.3 learning, teaching and assessment evaluated as good, which signals important strengths in the school. Quality Indicator 3.2 reasoning, attainment and achievement were evaluated as satisfactory, which means that strengths outweigh weaknesses. The inspection team found the following strengths in the school's work. Led very effectively by the head teacher and acting principal teacher, there is a highly positive and supportive ethos across the school. This helps children feel safe, happy and included. Children are proud of their school and enjoy being part of St Anthony's family. Teachers lead improvements to learning, teaching, which is having a positive impact on the quality of children's experiences across the school. In particular, teachers match activities in literacy and English to meet the needs of children effectively. Staff are a reflective team and work well with professional partners to improve outcomes for children. Support staff provide high quality support to children who require it, which is improving children's engagement and progress in their learning. The following areas for improvement were identified and discussed with the head teacher and the representative from South Lanarkshire Council, that being Maureen. Staff should continue to develop high quality learning, teaching and assessment across the curriculum. This includes matching tasks and activities more consistently to children's abilities to provide the right level of challenge. And staff need to continue to increase children's progress and attainment, particularly in writing and listening and talking. Staff should support children to consolidate learning and apply their skills more regularly in different contexts. I'll now hand over to the head teacher, Alison Gallagher, to share some of her highlights from the report. Thank you, Alison.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to be here on behalf of St Anthony's Primary to speak about our recent inspection report. I took up post as head teacher of St Anthony's in January 2024, which coincided with the principal teacher also taking on a new role as acting deputy in another establishment. As a newly established management team, my new PT, Claire, Connor and I have worked incredibly hard to build strong, nurturing relationships with our pupils, staff and families. From the outset, our shared priority has been to ensure that St Anthony's is a welcoming, safe and supportive environment, a place where every child feels valued and has the opportunity to thrive. I'm pleased that the inspectors were able to validate our own evaluation of where our school is at the moment. This reassurance gives us a strong mandate to move forward with even greater confidence in the direction we're taking. The report highlights that under my strong leadership, our dedicated staff are successfully transforming the school's culture and ethos. Our senior leadership team has played a key role in supporting staff to implement consistent and highly effective approaches, particularly improving the behaviour of a small number of pupils. As a result, overall behaviour across the school is very good and we are seeing real progress in children's ability to concentrate and stay engaged in their learning. One of the real strengths of our school recognised in the report is the strong positive relationships between staff, children and families. Working together, we have developed a new vision and set values that truly reflect the unique context and needs of our school community. This shared vision has helped strengthen everyone's sense of belonging and deepened our understanding of what it means to be part of St Anthony's. Our staff are deeply nurturing and highly responsive to the needs of the children. They serve as excellent role models, consistently placing the well-being of our pupils at the heart of their practice. In their everyday interactions, they embody the values of kindness, honesty, creativity, resilience and bravery, values that are closely aligned with our strong Catholic ethos and the gospel values we uphold. Our children are proud to be a part of the St Anthony's family. The inspection team commented on how welcoming the children were to visitors and how supportive they are of one another, which creates a truly inclusive and compassionate school environment. As head teacher, I'm pleased that the inspection acknowledges the work we've done in the short time myself and the PT have been in post to develop clear frameworks that are supporting greater consistency in teaching and learning. Moving forward, we will continue to support staff in developing a whole school learning and teaching policy. This will help ensure a shared understanding of high-quality pedagogy across all curricular areas. In classrooms, inspectors observed calm, purposeful learning environments. We've worked hard as a team to establish this and are pleased that our staff's dedication was recognised. Our staff have established and used consistent routines, positive interactions, daily check-ins to ensure children feel safe, ready and supported in their learning. Purpose-designed spaces like our sensory room and our gym spa areas are being used effectively to help children regulate their emotions and develop regulation strategies. Inspectors agreed with us that these are the building blocks needed to be in place before attainment can begin to rise, but they are, and we agree that this will happen as the children become more settled and ready to learn and ready to be engaged in their learning. I'm delighted that our support staff were recognised in the report as they play a crucial role in this inclusive environment, providing well-timed interventions that help children stay engaged and motivated. They are a dedicated team and are incredibly nurturing and supportive of our children. With regards to teaching and learning, it was recognised that most of our children enjoy their lessons and are developing strong independent learning skills. Our teachers are well organised, planning a balance of mixed, independent, paired and group tasks. Younger children were recognised as using peer discussion very effectively, and overall children are sustaining their focus for longer periods of time. As we continue to build on this, teachers will look to support children to take greater ownership of their learning. The inspection team commended our effective practice in connecting learning to real-life skills, which enhances students' understanding of the relevance of their education. This approach aligns with research indicating that contextual learning boosts student motivation and engagement. We are committed to further developing this strategy to enrich our students' learning experiences. Additionally, our integration of digital technology has been recognised for enhancing learning outcomes. Students demonstrate confidence and independence when utilising devices for research, literacy and personalised support. This proficiency not only supports their current learning but also equips them with essential skills for the digital age. We will continue to expand in the use of digital tools to further develop skills across the curriculum. Overall, the inspection findings are encouraging and affirm the hard work of our staff team. We are in a strong position to continue improving outcomes for our children and providing them with a nurturing, inclusive and highly quality learning experience. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Alison. Thank you, and congratulations on a positive report. You know, there was really good feedback within the report, and pleased to note that the children feel proud. That's so important. Okay, I'll pass over to Robert now.
Thanks once again, congratulations on your report. I mean, there's a lot of focus on the leadership within the school and the development of things that you're taking forward. And I was struck, I must confess, by the sheer number of different initiatives of one sort or another that emerged from the report in that kind of way. I wonder if I can just put it the other way and ask you if you thought there was any particular challenges that were, if you like, going to be the priority going forward, emerging from the work of the report and things like that.
I think we've spent a lot of time since I've taken over working together and building up a team that are all focused on the one goal, and that is improving outcomes for the learners involved in front of us. We've spent a lot of time getting the environment correct within the school, and I think now that we have got that in correct and in the right place, that we're going to be able to start moving things forward pretty quickly, and we're all looking forward to the challenges that will bring and also the benefits for everyone around. Okay.
Okay, Margaret.
Thanks, Chair. Actually, it's very similar to Robert's. I thank you for the report and congratulations on the positive aspects in the work that you're doing. But it was sort of related to what Robert was saying. Obviously, in terms of attainment, we're kind of not where we want to be. And I'm not specifically just talking about, you know, St Anthony's or whatever. I mean, that's a general statement, particularly, you know, in primary schools in terms of, you know, attainment levels. So it was similar to what Robert said, to ask you what are the specific challenges around that, and, you know, are you confident you can sort of raise it from satisfactory to making a greater impact? But you have answered that to a certain point. I'm assuming you're making the improvements in the environment and the school environment, and that you're confident that you will ultimately have an impact on that.
Sorry, that's me on. I think, yeah, we have had a strong focus on that from where I came into the school last January to where we are now is a much stronger place. Our children are in the classroom on the whole almost all of the time, and they're now in the right place to start to learn, and that will have an impact on the attainment going forward. Until we could get the children settled, calm and into the classrooms, then we weren't going to make that impact that we needed to make.
Okay, again, Councillor Cowie would like to pass on a congratulations as well. Okay, thank you very much. We really appreciate the update today. Are we happy to note the report? Great, thank you. And then the next item on the agenda is item 7, and that's a PB update, and that's over to yourself again, Gary.
Hi, me again. Sorry. I'm presenting this on behalf of Maureen Farr, as I've said, unfortunately is unable to attend this afternoon. So the participatory budgeting activity, I can never quite say that, participatory budgeting activity within education resources. So the process of participatory budgeting in South Lanarkshire schools continues as a core business following the same system and processes as in previous years. Before the summer holidays, head teachers were informed participatory budgeting will continue into session 2024-25. They were again asked to allocate a minimum of 5% of their PEF allocation and identify a staff member to lead and facilitate this activity within their school. Schools were informed the principles and practices of PB are applicable across their full PEF allocation as per PEF national operational guidance. Schools were therefore encouraged to put aside more than the recommended 5% where possible. On the 21st of August 2024, a PB training event was delivered to head teachers and PB leads who felt they needed a refresh or were new to the position. Head teachers and PB leads were briefed on the PB process and taken through a PowerPoint presentation which outlined expectations and timescales and the support available to them. It also drew on the learning from last session, signposting resources and good practice examples from previous years. The PowerPoint presentation was shared with all schools and thereafter through the PB Teams page and email. Following this, head teachers identified the percentage of their 2024-25 PEF allocation they wanted to allocate to PB for this period. They were asked to submit this information to Education Resources in their 2024-25 PEF profile of spend on 31st of August. The PB Teams page continues to facilitate the sharing of good practice across schools, as well as providing live, ongoing support to PB leads. 2024-25 PB activity within Cambuslang and Rutherglen area. Schools within the Cambuslang and Rutherglen area have collectively allocated £109,483.25, approximately 6% of their £1,819,225 PEF allocation for participatory budgeting. There is a table below for learning community breakdown, and you'll see that the Cathkin learning community allocated amount of PEF of 666,400, approximately 6% to PB and that equates to £42,115.50. Stonelaw with a PEF allocation of £655,475, 6% equates to £39,315.25, with Trinity at £497,350, with 6% equating to £28,052.50. Appendix 1 summarises the percentage of PEF allocation that individual schools have allocated for participatory budgeting. You'll be pleased to note that I'm not going to read through that. Appendix 1, you can consult that yourself. So, outcomes of consultation. All schools conducted a consultation period between August and October with their pupils, parents and staff. Appendix 2 contains the results of these consultations. We'd like just to highlight to you a case study for Cathkin Primary School, and my apologies, the head teacher was with me this afternoon but has had to go back to school for an event that is already planned, so my apologies that she's had to leave. Following the consultation and voting process, schools have progressed with their spend to ensure the minimum 5% was spent in full by the end of March 2025. We are pleased to share Cathkin Primary School's participatory budgeting work, which you'll see in Appendix 3, as an example of good practice within the Cambuslang and Rutherglen area. This case study illustrates the school's PB journey for 2024-25. Cathkin Primary set up a large participatory budgeting committee comprising representatives from every class in the school, as well as 5 parents and 2 members of school staff. Together, this group met several times to discuss the issues and came up with 5 ideas that they wanted to put to the larger school community. A PowerPoint presentation was delivered to the children at Assembly explaining what participatory budgeting is and what they were voting on. All children and staff were given a voting slip, and parents were sent a link through a parent portal. This meant that 80% of pupils 100% of staff and over 150 parents voted. The winning project, which you can see in Appendix 3, was what has now been named Pedal Past Poverty. £6,900 has been spent on buying bikes, trikes and helmets for the school, as well as a storage facility. The school is now developing plans to make best use of these new resources, starting with the current P7 pupils, and hope that learning to ride a bike doesn't just increase their physical fitness, but also their confidence and resilience at crucial time in their lives. In terms of next steps, PB is now fully embedded in South Lanarkshire Council schools through the pupil equity funding. Schools will continue to allocate a minimum of 5% of their pupil equity funding to the subject of PB year on year. Optional PB training is planned for August for schools who have new PB leads or require a refresh. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Great to see the report and the example of best practice. Okay, do we have any questions or comments on the report? Okay, that's great. Thank you for your time today, Gary. Thank you for 3 very good reports. Thank you. Okay, we'll move to, we're happy to note the report, yes? Thank you. Okay, we'll move to item 8 on the agenda, and that's a social bite update from Jackie Fernie. Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks very much, Ta. So we've got a presentation to share with you, and we were really just looking to bring folk up to speed with where we are with the project and kind of the timeline and stuff, and answer any questions anyone might have. So we started off, if I'm just okay for the next slide, we just started off with some background information in terms of our kind of long-standing position of being a top-performing local authority in terms of regulator scrutiny, never any actions coming out of that, always a kind of positive outcome. Very positive results from care inspectorate scrutiny of our housing support services as well. So kind of long-standing solid reputation, full statutory compliance in terms of our duty to accommodate and timescales for decisions. Across all indicators really we perform really well. We developed our temporary accommodation over the last kind of 15, really since the inception of South Lanarkshire probably, but definitely over the last 15 years with changes in legislation, increasing the number of people the council would have a duty towards. We matched the demand for temporary accommodation to our supply. So right now we're sitting with just over 750 units of temporary furnished properties across South Lanarkshire. 126 of those units are across Rutherglen and Cambuslang. And that really is our model, that it's ordinary homes and ordinary communities as our response to homelessness for temporary accommodation. But then we've got relatively small supply of congregate living accommodation, which allows us to have rapid access, very short-term accommodation, 24-hour support, largely for single people. And we've got 62 units of that accommodation across the local authority. And the benefits of that are we can, that immediate access, and we can work with people to move on to the community you want to be in, rather than the first response is temporary furnished property, wherever it happens to be. And then we've got a very small supply, 17 units at the minute, of supported accommodation. And that's kind of longer stay, still congregate living type accommodation, but longer stay for people that have got more complex housing and support needs and need a bit more time before we're ready to plan for independent living. So our temporary stock for, just nearly 8 years in this post, and prior to that, and in the early years of my time in this post, we had sufficient temporary accommodation. Probably we were getting to a point where we had a wee bit too much. We had a really successful few years between 2019 and 22, working through a rapid access transition plan, a bit of additional money. Our new build programme had quite significant numbers in those years, and we got our homeless backlog, our caseload, from a long-standing position of around 1,000 cases down into the 700s, and things were looking really positive. And then COVID, cost of living, shrinkage of the private rented sector, removal of local connection, a whole range of things led to a real surge in demand, which I think we had a bit of a buffer in the beginning and we weren't quite seeing it in the way, or experiencing the challenges in the way other local authorities were at the time. But I think we had a bit of a buffer because of those successful years, and it definitely in the last couple of years has caught up with us, and we've really struggled to have sufficient temporary accommodation, which has led to us using unsuitable accommodation, bed and breakfast, which is expensive, not what we want to be doing, not good enough for people, but our priority has been meeting our duty to accommodate and making sure we're not turning people away. So, you know, we've been ramping up the temporary furnished properties as much as we can. But the downside of that is we're taking properties that we would otherwise be letting to homeless people and solving homelessness. So, you know, there are consequences to that, but it's been necessary to increase. If I'm okay to move on, thanks. So at the same time, we've been working on reshaping our temporary accommodation plan, and sort of world's changing around us. So kind of planning around that and increasing accommodation. We had an approach from Social Bite, looking at the possibility of a partnership approach to introducing a new model of accommodation. So we were in this space where we needed to increase our accommodation, and they were coming with resources. They had developed a village model in Edinburgh, which there was a lot of positives from, and they were also very upfront about there was a lot of learning from that as well that they would put into a new model, and we're really keen to work with a local authority, a real partnership delivery, as opposed to, I think the Edinburgh model was a bit more got a piece of land and Social Bite very much delivered the project. So really keen to work in partnership with a local authority. Since then, sort of early 2020, we've had a lot of detailed discussions with Social Bite and various partners around what a model for us would look like, what resources we both bring. We've been to committee seeking approval to enter a partnership with Social Bite. We've identified a site, had committee approval to move forward on that on the basis of the size of the site, location, deliverability, in terms of the development opportunity, and we've progressed planning, applications, warrants, all the kind of requirements around that. The next few slides are just some visuals to run through of the project in Edinburgh, just to give you an idea of it. So a kind of overview, and then the next one is kind of a bit of a view of the hub, and ours are nicer, I would say, than these, but it's to give you an idea. And then the next one is a couple of internal views of the site. Is made up of the individual nest homes, and then there's a community hub. So we really feel like it's the best of both worlds, because normally in supported you're trying to work with folk around building tenancy sustainment skills and managing your door and things like that, which can be quite difficult in that sort of not normal communal living kind of environment. So we feel like this is the best of both worlds. You've got your own house, your own, you know, completely self-contained, but you've also got the benefit of 24-hour support, that kind of visiting services, group activities, all the work that we can do in supported that we know is real benefit for some people. So I think if I'm okay to move on to the next one, in terms of the Harriet Street site, then the plans are for 15 individual nest homes, or I shouldn't be saying nest homes really. We're looking to come up with a name exclusive to South Lanarkshire and work with our clients and community around what the best kind of branding is for our project and the homes. But 15 individual homes, and then a peer unit, which has been really successful in Edinburgh, allowing sort of peer support opportunities, and I think, you know, students and stuff have took that up. We would obviously be doing all the usual disclosure checks and things. The units are in production just now. It's a company, Ecosystems, that are developing the individual units, and they've got a base in Blantyre. So we had an opportunity to go and see a prototype, and I think that prototype is going around sort of roadshows just now. So if anybody wanted to see it, I can find out where it is and look to organise that. Each individual home will offer, really good quality accommodation. As I said, self-contained, your own kind of kitchen, bathroom, everything sort of in your own individual home, and then the opportunity, the kind of activities going on in the hub area. The project will be managed by a specialist housing support provider, and we are, in terms of kind of progress, I've got a bit more on this at the end, but we are out just now, or just about to go out for a grounds maintenance lead contractor who will sort of site manage the project as well as all the grounds work, and the council's responsible for that part of the project. Social Buy are leading and covering the costs of development of the individual homes in the hub, and they're in production just now with Ecosystems. And as I say, really good quality units. They come with a 60-year lifespan, carbon neutral, really cost effective, and they look really, really nice. And then in terms of the support service, we are out to tender just now for that contract, and we've had a lot of interest in it. I think it's quite an exciting project, the whole partnership, and I think Social Bite and the kind of profile they have and stuff like that. So we've had a lot of questions in. That closes next week, and then we'll move into the tender assessment phase. The next few slides are just some visuals of the site as it is just now, just to give you an idea. If that's okay to just move through the next couple. And then we've got a kind of overview above the site. I might have overdone the as it is now. And then that moves on to the kind of visuals of our project. The kind of nest homes and the sort of communal and the whole landscaping aspect of it is a big part of it for us, that this is a highly supportive community, that it's something that looks really nice, that we work with. Building relationships with the local community is going to be a crucial part of it. And then the inside, one of the cabins, and they are really, really lovely. And then I've just kind of moved on to next steps. I know it's kind of high level, where at the minute we're still working across ourselves, Social Buy, Ecosystems, finalising some of the details to be able to get the grounds contract out, things around sort of the we need for the specification around weights for loadings and electrical connections and stuff like that. So the kind of final bits of that detail are being tied down as we speak, and we're hopeful that the tender for the grounds contract will be out in the next couple of weeks. And meanwhile, as we're finalising that project plan, as I say, we are out at tender just now for our contract to make sure when the homes come, we're able to make use of them right away. And that's really, we are sort of chomping at the bit to have this project and have something really good to, another supported project and something really good to offer folk. We've got a big focus in the meantime on the whole kind of building relationships with the community. We had a open event in Rutherglen Town Hall, and there was there must have been about 100 people there, and there was some concerns from the community around the development. So we're aware of that, and we offered an opportunity for anybody who wants to work with us on the development. And a few folk took us up in that, not very many, but we do have a growing. We've had sort of another couple of people come as the meetings have went on, and the folk who are coming along are participating. We've got fantastic people involved, so it might be quite low numbers, but it's great folk that are there and are connected to wider community groups. So that's been brilliant. We've got a communications plan developed, which I'm sure we'll add to as we go. But some of the things that we're looking to do is hold some kind of drop-in sessions at the Rutherglen Shopping Centre, just kind of there to speak to people. We want to have another open day, probably a different format from sort of presentation, maybe more sort of stalls idea, and have visuals and social bite. The council, we're providers if we've got our contract in place at that time. And we were thinking maybe an open day on site, or maybe the kind of local supermarket, if they would allow us a space, maybe something kind of pop up so that we're right in the area. So those are the things that we're planning. We're quite keen that we get the project plan finalised, and by the time we're out talking to people, we're able to give a bit more information about timescales and know that we're giving out the sort of accurate information, and it's not going to change or anything. So those are the kind of plans that are progressing just now. I hope that's okay for a kind of overview. Thanks very much.
Great, thanks Jackie. You're right, it is an exciting project, so it's really good to get an update. Okay, we'll open it up to questions. Okay, thanks Margaret.
Yeah, thanks very much. That was really useful to get an update on where the project is. I think obviously it's got the potential to be a really excellent project because, as you say, that type of accommodation usually kind of has really good outcomes and kind of evaluates well. But just to say, yeah, it's very reassuring though to know that you have a community engagement policy and that's ongoing, because in my experience that's the best way to keep people on board and even get kind of active support for the local community. So it is reassuring to know that that's going to be an ongoing process throughout the development of the project, and also just to acknowledge the general work that you do. You made reference at the beginning your presentation to the demands in terms of homelessness, which have exponentially increased to all sorts of factors, and I think you have did extremely well in terms of being able to cope with that and how you've reacted to that. So thank you, and hopefully you'll keep us updated on Social Bite and any issues that do arise, because obviously the earlier as an elected member that you're prepared for them, the better, because obviously we will, the local councillors for that area will get the inquiries and the contacts through surgery's emails, so it would be really useful just to be kept up to date. So thank you very much for that.
Okay, Andrea.
Hi, hello. Jackie, thanks for that. I've heard this obviously before, but I just wanted to pipe in as, as a local councillor in the project being situated in my ward. I just wanted to pipe in and thank you for all the work that's going on. I've been a supporter of the project from day one. You were very diplomatic in your description of the meeting in Rutherglen Town Hall, I've got to say. It was a night that I don't think any of us will forget. But what I can say, again, just as a local representative, is that the number of people who are talking about it now in a negative way seems to be diminishing. I think there was an initial reaction in the ward, but the community groups are certainly getting on board, and I'm looking forward to how this progresses, and looking forward to being involved. And if there's anything that we can do to help, please just let us know, and I'm sure that myself and other councillors will be on hand. Thank you.
Great. Are we happy to note the report? Okay, thank you. So thanks for the presentation. It was really good, and I look forward to seeing it progressing. Thanks, Jackie. Okay, we'll move to item 9 on the agenda, and this is the forward programme for future meetings. So this will be a standard item going forward. So if there's any requests, feel free to send them over to myself and Carol. Any questions or comments? Happy to note the report? Thank you. Okay, we'll move to item 10 on the agenda, and that's the community grant applications. We have 4 grants for consideration. Any questions or comments? Okay, I'll move the grants. If I could have a seconder, please. Thanks, Robert. Okay, and the last item on the agenda is the play scheme grants. So we'll just let Councillor Cowie leave the meeting just now. Okay to proceed? Yeah, great. Okay. So there is one play scheme for consideration, Fernhill Kids, £660. Any questions or comments? Okay, I'll move the report. If I could have a seconder, please. Thanks, Robert. Thank you very much for your attendance today, and I'll close the meeting. See you all soon. Take care.